What's happening, guys? Acrinator here, and welcome to another episode of World of Warcraft Dungeon Overview. Last episode, we finished up the Scarlet Monastery Dungeon Hub, and this episode, we're going to do a dungeon that I have been waiting so long to do, Uldaman. If you've been following me on Instagram, you know that for the last week or so I've had a cold. You could still probably hear it in my voice. That's why this episode is delayed a little bit, because my voice has been a little bit iffy. Anyways, I'm going to be running through with my level 100 Feral Worgen Druid right there. And with that being said, let's get straight into it. Buried deep underneath the scorched earth of the Badlands lays an ancient Titan vault known as Uldaman. Prehistoric dwarven legends tell of a failed Titan experiment locked in the deepest recesses of the halls, one that had to do with the evolution of the dwarven race. Though, knowledge isn't the only thing being protected within its halls. The tale goes on about a treasure of unimaginable wealth being stored within the walls of the lost city. This promise was just too much for some adventurers to resist, and many have gone dredging into the dark vault. Many have tried, but none have returned victorious, as the army of stone defenders and ravenous hordes of trogs have foiled all attempts. In recent times, a small portion of the Dark Iron Dwarves who haven't given up their diabolical tendencies have made their way into the labyrinth in order to claim whatever treasures are to be found for their elemental master, Ragnaros. We adventurers have no idea what awaits us in the dark corridors of Uldaman, but one thing is certain. The Dark Irons must not get their hands on the treasure. Uldaman is a level 30 to 45 dungeon located in the northern portion of the Badlands. I hope you're prepared to fight tons of mobs and get lost more times than you can count while looking for this entrance, because Labyrinth doesn't even begin to describe how confusing finding Uldaman's portal can be. I'd suggest constantly looking at your map as to not get hopelessly lost, like I did multiple times during the making of this video. The path you see me taking here is what I found to be the simplest and quickest, so pay careful attention to save yourself from what'll feel like hours of torment. The first boss of Uldaman is Revelash. Revelash is a large grey trog found in the Hall of the Keepers, who hoards as many archaeological treasures as he can get his grubby hands on. Much like his dwarven archaeologist descendants, Revelash holds a sort of reverence for Titan artifacts, although his reverence has a bit more of a my precious feel to it rather than the pursuit of knowledge. Revelash is one of the easiest encounters of any dungeon I've reviewed thus far. He deals no melee damage and will only cast lightning bolt and chain lightning, both of which are interruptible. The second boss of Uldaman is Iron Aya. Iron Aya is a Titan Watcher who is tasked with overseeing the construction and maintenance of Uldaman by the Titans themselves. Once the vault had been completed, she retreated to her chamber and underwent a form of stasis until she were to be called upon again. Now, so rudely awoken by us, Iron Aya is analyzing the extent of ruin dealt to Uldaman and is considering every possible course of action that can be taken to return her home to its former functionality. In case you haven't figured it out by now, one of the first things on her to-do list is to rid Uldaman of its unwelcomed intruders. It's important to note that you no longer have to gather artifacts from other bosses to be able to summon Iron Aya. Since the Cataclysm revamp, all players have to do is click on the keystone sticking out of the 3D map in the center of the room. One of Iron Aya's most annoying abilities includes a knockback that sends her current target flying backwards. Because of this, I'd recommend clearing out all the trash mobs in the room before clicking on the keystone to summon the boss. Iron Aya also uses a cleave attack against everyone standing in front of her, so the tank should face the boss away from the group. Finally, Iron Aya will use a War Stomp ability every so often, which will stun everyone within 5 yards, so anyone who's not melee should stay further back during the fight. The third boss of Uldaman is the Obsidian Sentinel. The Obsidian Sentinel was one of the original protectors of Uldaman, before it was corrupted by an unknown force. Though its body originally consisted of the very stone that makes up the vault, it's now coated with a dark glass-like substance that is capable of reflecting most spells. Though not explicitly stated, I personally believe that it was the Dark Irons that reworked the Sentinel, since they're found nearby the boss and aren't being disturbed by it, as well as the spell-resistant glass sounding very much like something the Dark irons would construct, this just seems like the most logical explanation. Leave any comments about your own theories on what you believe might have happened to this unfortunate Titan construct. The spell reflective glass I talked about wasn't just for show. It actually has a 1 in 5 chance to reflect any spells cast on the boss, so spellcasters beware. The Sentinel will periodically summon obsidian splinters, each of which also has a 20% chance to reflect spells. This fight is not friendly to spellcasters, but it shouldn't be too difficult unless the only melee user you have is the tank. The 4th boss of Uldaman is the Ancient Stone Keeper. In the days of old, the Ancient Stone Keeper would act as an intermediary between the Titan Watchers and their earthen servants working throughout Uldaman. After the corruption of the Obsidian Sentinel, this prehistoric construct is the only overseer of the vault left uncorrupted. It has dedicated the remainder of its time to guarding the Titan secrets hidden within Uldaman, before it inevitably malfunctions and shuts down for good. I'll be honest, only a game like WoW could ever make me feel so horrible for defeating a boss in a dungeon, and a lifeless stone construct no less. Possibly due to its advanced age with no viable repairs, or maybe as a result of not being meant for combat. Either way, the Ancient Stone Keeper is an incredibly easy fight. Its only mechanic is an ability called Sandstorm, which creates a small swirl of air, one that damages and slows the movement speed of all players caught within 5 yards of it. The 5th boss of Uldaman is Galligan Firehammer. Galligan Firehammer is a Dark Iron senator from Shadowforge City sent to oversee the excavation of any and all artifacts found, with the hopes of finding something useful in the pursuit of wiping their ancient enemies, the Bronzebeard clan, off the face of Azeroth. Firehammer is guarded by 2 Shadowforge geologists, one on each side. These adds will cast fire spells that can be interrupted with little effort and should be the focus of attention while still alive. Once the geologists are taken care of, it's on to the main course. I hope you stacked up on fire resistance, because that's the only kind of attack Firehammer uses. There's nothing too special about any of the spells, and none of them can be interrupted, so once the adds are taken care of, the fight pretty much turns into a tank and spank. The 6th boss of Uldaman is Grimlock. Compared to the rest of the Stone Vault Trogs, Grimlock is a complete and utter genius. Compared to basically anything else, well, let's just say that Trogs aren't known for their philosophical quandaries. After successfully taming a Jadespine Basilisk and mastering scare tactics, Grimlock has cemented his place as the Stone Vault Chieftain, and thus has to go. Grimlock is accompanied by the aforementioned Jadespine Basilisk, a Stone Vault Geomancer, and a Stone Vault Brawler. At first glance, this fight can certainly seem overwhelming compared to the other encounters of the dungeon thus far. I mean, a 4v5 fight is almost fair for crying out loud. I'll try to simplify the order in which you should be taking out these enemies as much as possible. The Jadespine Basilisk should be the first enemy to be downed, as it has an ability to consistently stun players. That being said, only the tank and other melee DPS should be fighting this mob. This is because of another ability the Basilisk has, which allows it to reflect all spells cast on it for a short period of time. While the meleeers are taking out the Basilisk, the spellcaster should be focusing on bursting down the Geomancer, so that the rest of the group won't have to worry about its pesky spells. After both the Basilisk and the Geomancer are downed, you can just ignore the Brawler if you'd like, and go straight for the boss, as it really only applies additional pressure in terms of damage being dealt to the tank. As for Grimlock himself, he casts multiple lightning-based spells, all of which can be interrupted. The only significant ability the boss has is Bloodlust, which is why you want to take down the other adds as quickly as possible. The 7th and final boss of Uldaman is Arcadis. Arcadis is Uldaman's last line of defense against unwelcomed intruders, stopping all who enter Khaz'goroth's seat from making their way into the final chamber. Few have had the chance to gaze upon Arcadis' stasis form surrounded by his army of servants. Fewer still have been foolish enough to awaken him, and none have survived his wrath. Arcadis' fight isn't difficult in the same sense that the previous boss fight is difficult, as much as the fact that there are literally dozens of trash mobs assisting the boss. To someone entering Uldaman for the first time, this fight can certainly seem like a cluster of confusion, trying to understand what to fight, when, and why. Simply put, Use as many AoE effects as you have available, and focus primarily on the ads while they're up. If you focus too much on the boss, you will get overrun and likely wipe. Alone, the ads don't seem to do much damage, but when 10 plus gang up on you, there's going to be trouble, especially for the healer. Arcadis will periodically stun all players, so if you're healing, be prepared to make up for seconds of lost healing, and multiple ads ragging on the rest of the group. I know it'll feel like it's taking forever to tick the boss down while keeping the ads in check, but it's the most surefire way to not die a needless death and have to walk all the way back through this maze of a dungeon. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. So, as always, leave your comments in the comment section below if you have any ideas about anything else you might want to see me play. And the comment question still stands. Try and guess the intro and outro songs to my videos. They're always the same. I never change them. Be sure to follow me on Instagram for the latest updates on when I'll be uploading YouTube videos, as well as when I'll be streaming on Twitch and other random gaming-related posts. Be sure to check out my partner in crime, Sir John Mac's channel. He posts something every now and then, and it's usually pretty entertaining, whatever it is. So if you like this video, be sure to click that like button, and if you want to see more like it, maybe even subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. And that's all the time I've got for today, guys. So until next time, don't die.